And then Twitter lit up, right? Like Los Angeles is #1 trending topic because everyone out here is like, oh my God, it's fucking raining. And the rest of the country is like, but they don't understand how like special rain is to us and stuff. So the rain came and when I thought I was gonna be coming here to Downport, no Downport whatsoever. So I had some time to spare. So I took a ride up to Mulholland. That's my happy place. I love to drive on Mulholland Drive, very quiet, no fucking cops, you can speed, it's amazing. If you're ever passed by a tailgating asshole on Mulholland driving a Lincoln Navigator, it's yours truly. I'm honestly like a very friendly, happy person everywhere in life except on the road. When I'm on the road, I play it like a game, and I hate fucking all of you. So don't drive around me, everything will be fine. So I was driving up on Mulholland, and just getting into the mindset, I was like, what am I going to talk about when I get there tonight? What's my opener? And fucking life provided an opener. So here I am cruising down. I'm going up at this point. So there's, it's a slight incline where I am. So there are people coming down the hill. And it's still like relatively light out, the lights going down, so you can still see the sun's going down, but you can still see folks. And so I see in the distance as I'm driving and listening to like fucking Borderline by Madonna. I see in the, it has no bearing on the story, just to put you in the mindset where I was. I was playing, I've heard this song for fucking 30 years or more and stuff. Just going, it's white noise in my head at this point and stuff. So I see in the distance what looks like, the only way I can describe it is a man carrying a woman, but not like she's riding on his back, like he's carrying her from in front, like the way like Deborah Winger jumped into fucking Richard Gere's arms, an officer and gentleman, the way like some women could jump into a man's arms, never mind, but like jump into a man's arms and be caught by him and stuff like that. So that's what it looked like as I'm driving up. I'm like, oh, that's kind of romantic. Sun's going down. There's a view of Los Angeles, behind them, up ahead, I know from this area. And as I get closer, I'm like, is his pants down? And just as I pass them, I make perfect eye to genital contact. And they are not walking down Mulholland, they are fucking down Mulholland. In a standing fucking position, man. I thought they were just kids fooling around. They were kids fooling around, all right. So I was like, fucking no way. So I went up and I had to make the first turn I could. Because I was like, it's got to be a trick of the light. And fucking, if you see like free sex, look at it. So I drove back, fucking down the direction that I'd come, and fucking sure enough, they're still fucking going down, and I'm coming up behind them, and I'm trying not to scare them, and give them a wide berth on the side of the road and shit. No other fucking cars, because I'm looking around for others to be like, did you see this? But just fucking be by myself and stuff. And so I passed them again, and sure enough, man, they are fucking coitally engaged. It's mind bending. Like, I wanted to stop them and be like, how? Why? What led to this? And how can I get some? What the fuck? Kept going. Then I was like, fuck, whip out the phone. I was like, that's not right. Then I was like, what a huge TikTok it would be. Then I was like, I'm driving the vehicle, I can't fucking do this much. But then I realized that, like, in order to get where I'm going, I have to pass them one more fucking time. So I'm like, right on, I'm more free. And so I turn around and I pass them again, and this time, they fucking see me. And the fucking strangest thing is, they look at me like I'm the creepy one. Like fucking, ew, he drove past us 3 times. I'm like, you're fucking in broad daylight. Anyway, fucking Los Angeles, man. Never saw that in New Jersey once in my entire fucking life. So that was right before I got here. Getting here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, took a long fucking time. Almost 30 years to back a book this fucking thick. And just to give you the background on how we got here by way of this book. This is something I always dreamed somebody would want to do, but never imagined they'd get around until I dropped fucking dead. But Chris Prince, who works at Inside Editions, reached out to me years ago, like fucking 5 years ago, to be like, hey man, I think there's a book in your stuff. And I was like, really? And Inside Editions makes amazing fucking coffee table books. that legitimized our geek interests and stuff. So I was like, oh my God, if anyone was going to do it, of course it'd be you guys, but I don't know if I've got enough of a background, enough history to fill a book. He's like, trust me, absolutely you do. And I was like, well, I do save everything. So like, I know we'll have photo inserts and shit like that. So Chris said, we need somebody to like write the book, somebody who'll like fill in the word content. It's mostly a picture book, but to fill in all the words, the story of your career and stuff. And so I was like, oh, I know just who could fucking do it, man. It's my friend Malcolm Ingram. Malcolm's been around since almost the very, very beginning. I met him at the Toronto Film Festival in 1994, at the end of Clerks' like tour, film festival tour, before we went theatrical. We've been friends ever since. I've produced some of his movies. He used to do fiction narrative. Now he's been a documentarian for about 20 years at this point. And Malcolm, of course, I've talked about it many times. Malcolm is not that this has any relevance to the story, except just to give you a fully fleshed out picture of who Malcolm is. Malcolm is one of the most boisterous people you'll ever meet in your life. He's just very opinionated and very loud. And it's weird because he's Canadian, and most Canadian folks don't tend to be that way. He's a Canadian that comes across as very fucking American. He's the kind of guy who goes to a movie with you, and you're like, hey man, what did you think? What did you think of the flick? And he's like, it's a fucking abortion of cinema. And you're like, it's Cruella, man. Like, back off. So he's very strongly opinionated dude and stuff. And everything is very dramatic, very huge. He's also a bear, which, you know, as he told me in the gay community, means like a person like me could get laid. That's what he told me. He's like, I'm a fucking bear. I was like, what does that fucking mean? He's like, I'm a bear. I'm a big gay bear, man. I was like, you have to define that for me. I'm not quite sure what that means. And he's like, a bear is a big, hairy dude like me, and I have sex with impossibly hot guys. And I was like, is that a fucking thing? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, if you ever felt like switching teams, I could so get you laid, man. He's like, they only got 2 fucking fat directors they love in this world, Peter Jackson and you, and he lost a bunch of fucking weight, so field's wide open for you. So I was like, all right, no, thank you. Good to remember, good to know. He's my closest friend in the world who chronicled, bless you, my journey from a distance and up close as well. And he used to be a writer, he used to write for Film Cut magazine and shit. So I was like, Malcolm could totally do the guts and shit. So I called up Malcolm and I was like, hey man, they're gonna do like one of those coffee table books, like on me and my career. He goes, get the fuck out of here, what'd you ever do? I was like, well, you're the perfect guy for me to turn to ask this question then. They need somebody to write the insert, you know, the words in the book, like write my fucking story. So it's gonna be mostly pictures. You're familiar with these books, these coffee table books. I was like, so, you know, I figured you'd be the guy to do it. And he's like, really? What's it pay? And I told him what it paid. He goes, that's fucking good. I'll fucking do that. I know your story. I know your stupid story. And I was like, I like that enthusiasm. Thank you. And so he's like, all right, let me get to thinking about it. Do I get to interview people? And I was like, I guess if you want to. I thought you'd just be kind of writing the narrative from start to finish. But like, yeah, I guess you can totally like interview people that I've worked with and stuff like that. He goes, all right, this will be fucking fun. You know, yeah. 10 minutes later, he called me back and he goes, if I'm interviewing everybody, can I bring a camera and just make it a documentary at the same time? And I was like, yeah, I guess you could. That's his nature, he's a documentarian and stuff. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, because we could call it Kevin Smith 20. It's like looking back at the last 20 years of your fucking career, man. And he's a great fucking companion piece with the book. So I write the book, and then I also fucking do this like documentary on the side. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. You think there's enough material there to do a doc? I trust you to cover my life. Sure, feel free. But the book is the thing. The book is, you know, our lodestar. Yeah, work on the book. He was like, yeah, absolutely. Malcolm never worked on the book once. Well, Malcolm went off and made a documentary, which became Clerk, and it played at South by Southwest. It comes out in November. So the book spawned an entire fucking feature film documentary before anyone ever lifted a finger to put a word into the fucking book. So, you know, we felt really bad because Chris and the good folks at Inside Editions made a deal to do this book like years ago, and years had gone past. We went off and made Reboot. I had a fucking heart attack, a bunch of things happened and shit. So Jordan, who runs our company, Jason's wife, she was like, you know, we should really call Chris and give him the book advance back because you're not going to get around to this book. Malcolm's not writing it. Like, nobody's doing anything. It's kind of a bust. the documentary, but yeah, I guess we should let this go. And Chris Prince, God bless him, would not let it go. So we called and be like, hey man, we're gonna give you guys the money back and don't worry about the book. And he goes, well, can I write the book? And I was like, do you know enough about the fucking story? I'm certainly not gonna say no. I feel guilty enough that you waited this fucking long and you got the biggest set of blue balls in the publishing industry. I said, but do you feel like you got a handle on the story? He goes, well, all we have to do is sit down and you tell me the story and then I'll transcribe it all. And I was like, wow, the least I could do is fucking give you that time. You waited all the time. Absolutely. This is the plan. Let's go forward with the plan. And then, I was in the tail end of the Jay and Silent Bob Reboot Roadshow tour, which was February 2020. Then we came home and the whole fucking world shut down. Everyone went into quarantine and lockdown and stuff. So I had nothing but fucking time on my hands. And so Chris and I just started getting on the phone. He was in the Bay Area and I was down here. And I've got a podcasting studio in my house, so put the microphone on myself, had him on the phone in the ear. He would ask me questions, I would read it, and then just record very long, very, very long fucking responses. We did this over the course of 24 hours, during which I got to relive my entire career. And let's be honest, I never leave my past too far behind, says the guy who just finished Clerks 3, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like I need to be reminded of where I've come from or, oh my God, what a great trip down memory lane. Kids, I built my fucking home on memory lane. I don't want to leave the good times and shit. I don't want to look back, I want to live in the good times forever. But even so, in the process of kind of going through everything, it was breathtaking. I don't mean that I was impressed with myself kind of way, but you spend a lot of time trying to stay in the business. At least I did. I don't know how others do it, but I spent so much energy trying to stay in a room that, I got my foot in the door back in 94 and then kind of moved into the room and, I should have been shown the door a long fucking time ago. I don't have anything new to add to fucking cinema. I'm certainly not a stunning visual storyteller or anything like that. If I fucking drop dead, the only thing that was missing from world cinema is Kevin Smith movies, and very few people would notice it. But, I did a lot. Even though most people aren't hey, what's next and shit, I always think of that as being JJ. J.J. Abrams, everyone's always like, what do you want to do next? And throw money at him. Mine is the other path, where it's just you know what I want to do next? And they're like, you talking to me? Fuck, Okay, what? And then I fucking hopefully talk somebody into making smart and shit like that. So, I spend a lot of energy trying to stay in the business. That's why I do so many things. People are like, well, you're prolific. I'm like, no, I'm desperate. I'm scared something won't work out, and then I'll be shown the fucking door. So I do as many things as possible, so that even if something fucking fails, I can still do this other thing over here and stuff like that. So, that's how I live it in my career, in my head, in a state of constant, wake up and shit, I gotta generate shit. So in sitting down and talking to Chris over the course of nearly 24 fucking hours, I got to sit there and go, oh, we've done a bunch. It always reminds me of that moment in Aliens when fucking Ripley saves the day and she busts through the fucking wall and that fucking transport and shit. And Hicks is just ease up, Ripley, you're grinding metal, ease up. As I told him the story, I was like, oh shit, I've been grinding metal for so fucking long. I've been just trying to go as fast as I could to stay in fucking motion for so long that I've very rarely stop and look back at what we've done. I'm so busy going, what are we gonna do fucking next? So the book was a welcome respite. It came at the right time as the whole fucking world was shut down. I had nothing to do but sit around and think time. And in doing so, I don't know, found an appreciation for Kevin Smith that I heretofore hadn't had. I have a very mixed opinions about Kevin Smith. I love him to death, but I'm also an idiot. So, at this, when we got to the end of the book, I was like, oh, he's not an idiot. He's just fucking lucky and scared and desperate to keep making pretend for a living. You gotta remember, I've been doing it for nearly 30 years now. And to be fair, I have worked in the real world, but it was a long time ago. And I don't want to go back to those jobs. Like, I don't want to work for other people. I like working for myself. It's been kind of neat and stuff. And I know sooner or later that'll come to a fucking end. It has to. By virtue, I mean, other than me dying, I'm sure the career will die before I die, I think. Although it'd be great if it was vice versa. But until then, I don't know, like, I'm kind of happy with what we did. And the book encapsulates all of that. So I guess the long and short of it is, like, if it weren't for Chris Prince, not only would the book not exist, but I wouldn't have like a healthier perspective on myself than I've had in a fucking long time. Like, without trying, he made me feel like it was okay. Remember that scene in Good Will Hunting where Rob Williams is like, it's not your fault, Will. That was what Chris did. Like with the book, it's like, Kevin, it's not your fault. So thank you. Thank the Lord.